Today on DNVR Buffs Live, it is our spring game preview. Who's going to win the Offered All Hards player of the game? Who's going to get the What's in the Bag freshman of the game? Who's going to get the MLC play of the game? And many, many more awards to give out with, of course, our guy, Uncle Neely. Let's get it. Let's go!
Squad!
Yes, sir. Quad Pod back together. The DNVR Pregame Show. Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. Happy Spring Game Eve.
Yeah, and if you squint and look closely enough through that little window behind us, you can see that it's dumping snow.
Yeah.
Sideways. In
and
fact,
it's like 36 degrees.
If you can,
and I have an idea.
what is it?
Next year, we plan announce what day the spring game is, but everyone knows that, except for Mother Nature, that it's the week after that.
I love this.
And then the snow will come the day we said it was going to be, but a week later, it'll be nice and sunny.
If you can tell by me and Unc, fresh ass headgear, it's cold outside.
Yeah, you guys
and
match.
it's snowing outside, but we out here still fresh with it. You see us. Shout out Goonsville. Shout out Unc. What's poppin', Unc? How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. Let me apologize, but I know y'all understand. It's snowing.
That it is.
And for Rutherford, Mississippi, it's a long way from Boulder to Colfax and York when it's snowing.
Yeah.
So I stay my happy ass right here in the linebacker room because my license doesn't say driving snow.
Jake's don't either.
3 years in a row, though, is
insane.
Nasty work.
Remarkable.
Literally, like, I don't
really
know.
make it up.
I think I said earlier in the week, we'd probably have a better chance of getting struck by lightning than having 3 years in a row of this weather.
I'm pretty sure the year before Coach Prime got here, I got a sunburn at the spring game.
Wow.
So
Sounds like a pipe dream.
Literally sounds foreign.
Yeah, for real. I can't fathom that.
yeah, I mean, maybe this is the compromise we have to make.
Yeah.
It's the price we pay. Yeah.
And I'm all right with that.
Me too.
Hey,
I
shout
call
out
it
to
the
you,
prime
bro.
tax.
There you go.
You give some, you give and take. That's life right there. Real quick. Shout out to you, bro.
Thank you. What'd I do?
Giving me a fire shout out last night on
Oh
Twitter.
my God.
Hell yeah.
I don't know where that came from. I don't know where that shout out was
I was
prompted
just at
from.
home, just, I was like, you know what? Scotty's really been doing some great work recently. I just got to shout him out.
My dog gave me a shout out, bro.
That's
Really
crazy.
moving the needle. We love to see it, bro. Right back at you, dog.
Thank
right
you,
back
thank
at
you.
Thirsty as hell over here.
Please.
Oh, man.
All right, let's preview the spring game. We'll get to awards, all that good stuff. Unc, what's the vibe
Yo.
up there right now? I mean, last time we're going to really see football played on grass at Folsom Field. Obviously, the weather's going to play a factor, but what's the vibe up there right now?
Man, the vibes are high, ready to get this thing going. It's one of those things where you would like to say that the weather has dampened the mood, but I think we've gotten used to it. I think we come to expect that we're going to be in the 80s leading up to the game, then play in the snow, and then it's going to be 75 and sunny again. So I don't think the mood has changed in the building with the players. They are excited, to practice in front of company, as Coach Prime would call it, and show what they bring to the table for the 2025 Buffs.
What are some kind of things that you're specifically looking forward to hopefully seeing tomorrow? And obviously the elements might potentially play a factor. But whether that be a position or, maybe even an individual player or two, coming off of 14 spring practices in somewhat of a live setting, what are some things that you're going to have your eye out looking for?
Well, first and foremost, man, I don't think my belief in the grounds crew here could be any higher. Because coming here year one and seeing it much worse than this hours before the game and what they were able to do that field so we could still play, I have high confidence that by 2 p.m. tomorrow, it's going to look like it hadn't snowed a bit out there on the field. So I'm really not expecting today's weather to carry over and impact what we're able to do from an eyeball test. But to directly answer your question, Scotty Deep Pockets, I think first and foremost, the quarterbacks. The first half of the spring, I think we spent a lot of time with them having the same play calls, the same playbook, and you're comparing them apples to apples. And I think with the back half of practice, you started to see calls being made that suited their individual skill sets. And so, what I'm looking for tomorrow from the quarterbacks is, whether it's Juju, Salton, or Staub out there, is the play schemes that they have to show what they can do and how they do well at what they do well, if that makes sense. Other than that, of course, eyeballs are going to be on the running game as well as the defensive front and stopping the run.
I gotta say, spring games are cyclical in terms of how interesting they are. The first year that Coach Prime got here, that was an incredibly interesting spring game.
Absolutely.
It was everyone's kind of first up close and personal look at Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter and even Coach Prime himself. Last year, less so. It's always cool to go out and see those guys, but there wasn't as much like, what's this going to look like?
Right.
This year, we're back to full-on interest. As interesting, in my opinion, as a spring game can be, and I'm pretty anti-spring game in general. But this is a high-interest spring game, and it obviously starts with the quarterbacks, but there's just so much out there that's going to be fun and exciting to follow. And I would even go as far as to say you probably have to watch it a couple times over to see all of the interesting things that could present themselves.
No doubt. Cash Cleveland entered the portal yesterday. That was someone who was running a lot with the ones. We've had this situation in the last couple of years. Everyone's had it with the portal being open. But Unc, last year we had Isaiah Harge basically having to play all-time running back, all three teams out there because of injuries. I know that, we're not as banged up this time, but there are still going to be situations like center where Cash Cleveland is going to have to be replaced on the fly. Some other guys who have entered the portal. I guess my question is, just how does that process work, really? Is it just next man up, the 2 becomes the 1, 3 becomes the 2, or is there going to be some shuffling around we could see tomorrow?
I think it's going to be a little of both. You're certainly going to have a next man up mentality because that's the coach's mentality here, with the NFL mindsets that they bring. But there's also going to be some things, schematically you can do when you're down with the receivers. You could change, the personnel groups from 10 to 11 or 11 to 10, depending on the situation, and help that out. I do think that you're going to have some guys get an opportunity like Hard did last year. I think, there's no telling where you may see Cam tomorrow. You can see him receiver. You can see him at running back. Hell, you might see him at safety because he's another, great jersey kind of guy and what he brings to the table. And what a perfect day to be able to exhibit that when you're down in some positions and you have a guy on the field that can play a lot of positions, turn him loose and let him cook.
I think offensively, Unc, aside from the quarterbacks, like you mentioned, I think the thing I'm most looking forward to is just how this running game looks. Obviously, in combination with the offensive line and obviously the guys toting the football in the backfield. I saw that you had assistant running backs coach Johnny Mack on the morning one here recently. I caught some of that. That was some dope content per usual. I'm just curious though, kind of your takeaway chopping it up with Coach Mack and just kind of hearing his thought process on where the running back room is currently at and what we might see from that department here tomorrow.
Yeah, great question. Appreciate the shot as well. Coach Mack, when you talk about just energetic, man, what he does with the energy and what Marshall Faulk is doing with the teaching and plus their credibility, the track record of success that they both have. I think what you have from these coaches, though, Scott, is that they want to prove to the offensive coordinator and the head coach that we can run the ball because they want the running backs to get touches. and I want to place emphasis on getting touches because it's not just handing it off and running. They want to be involved in the passing game. They want to be involved in the blocking scheme. You have two running back coaches who've been there, done that, and they're instilling it in this room. And I look for them to get their opportunities tomorrow. I think they want their opportunities tomorrow. They want to prove, to the team. They want to prove to the O-line coaches, and the O-line coaches want to, prove to the coordinator and head coach that, man, this team is going to be a run the ball team this year, and that's going to start with the spring game.
One quick follow-up to that on the running backs. Coach Prime told us yesterday during his presser that they plan to add 2 more running backs here in the spring transfer report over the next couple of weeks. Do you have an idea of kind of what kind of running back they might want to target, whether that be, in terms of experience or production or skill set or play style? Kind of what's your kind of sense of what kind of running back they're going to want to target?
Well, you'd love to get the most experience that you can. So having a senior or a grad guy come in would be, top of the list as far as experience goes. But I think more so than experience, they're going to be looking for style. Johnny Mack said, that we still need that home run hitter, a guy that can take 4 yards and turn it into 40 or 50.
Yeah.
And then we also want that big bruising back. So imagine a Micah running style, but with a bigger body, a little more pass to it. I think those are the 2 check marks that they're looking for in the portal, that home run hitter, and then that's just that big guy that's going to make the linebackers think twice about coming up and stopping the run.
For sure.
Unc, what do you think people should expect from, the event itself tomorrow in terms of, just how much are they going to go live? What other kind of fun stuff is planned? What are you thinking?
Well, you get to see all the drills and the warm-ups, that the players do. They're going to come out early for that, and that'll be public viewing. And of course, man, this is the final practice of 15, so there's certainly going to be some live to it and some one-on-ones to it. But it's like you started off with, RK. This is just one of those peaks in the process where the interest is high again because everybody wants to see this quarterback battle. Yeah. And one thing that helps measure the success of the quarterback is the wide receivers, and that room is depleted with all the talent, the numbers production-wise that left. But Jason Phillips will tell you, and Rashad will tell you that that room is fully loaded again with talent, just waiting on that guy to emerge. So I think that what the fans can look forward to is some straight-up live-action runs, and then also who's going to be that big play guy receiver that's going to make people say, wow, and it's going to become a TikTok moment because you better believe both quarterbacks are going to look for that shot.
Love it.
Kind of along that same line, Unc. I mean, we've seen Kaidon really run well so far in spring practice, and it seems like the offense is really going to cater to that. I wouldn't expect him to really, taking a lot of runs into the second and third level, taking on contact and stuff like that. Just how much of that do you think we're going to see, the quarterback run game featuring Kaidon Salter tomorrow?
Oh, you're going to see it, and what you're also going to see if somebody touches him, they're going to be on the first damn plane out of here. So it's live, but it ain't touch the quarterback live. So what he's able to do with his legs, though, even without someone coming up and trying to take him down, you can see what's there. We see it in practice that he has what it takes to break one out and use his legs and extend the drive. So I think you're going to see some of that. But I think probably for his standpoint, for Salter's standpoint, is he's looking forward to showing you how well he can throw the ball. We see it in practice all the time, but everybody's heard this notion of his legs. You've seen his legs at Liberty. I think he's going to try to flip that script and show y'all that he can throw the ball.
Do you think that in this quote-unquote quarterback competition, the spring game is like weighted in any way differently than another practice? If one of the quarterbacks went out and had a really good game, do you think that would almost like fester in the minds of the coaching staff going through, getting all the way to fall camp?
Man, what a question. Great question. I hadn't considered that before, RK, but I got to believe so, and I'll tell you why. Doing it with the lights on, no matter how the weather impacts this crowd, okay, let's just be straight. We understand that this crowd tomorrow compared to year one with Coach Prime, Shedeur, and Travis, and everybody wanted to see if it was real or not, this crowd is not going to be that crowd. But there's going to be 19, 20,000 people there that are not at practice. ESPN2 Live is not in practice. And so I think that from the players looking at themselves to the coaches evaluating how things are run, you're damn right you're going to have to put a little grain of salt and bump that scale when somebody can do in public what they do in private, because that lets you know they can do it when the lights come on.
And
Love
I think it'll mean a little bit more too because it's the last.
That's what I mean.
You know,
yeah.
the last time you see them before, you know, going into the offseason and whatnot. And, you know, I think theoretically you want your guys, no matter what the position, you want them to kind of be ascending through the 15th spring practice, which is the spring game. And I think that's kind of what they're hoping for all of those guys in every position, but specifically at quarterback. I think you want to ostensibly see your guys playing their best football of the spring on that day, weather permitting, you know, whatnot. But that's a good question for sure. And I think it's a good one.
And people, the fan base is going to make their decision tomorrow.
Oh, for sure.
That's their only chance. Their only chance to see them between now and week one.
That's when people are going to start digging in their heels and picking sides.
Yeah, takes are going to fly tomorrow.
Yeah.
Heels are already pretty dug in, but people are like, one guy plays really great, another guy doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
The fan base will have their mind made up.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I hate to do this to our two guys because it's going to add that emphasis to what we were saying about the lights being on. I've seen these one have a better day than the other, but I've yet to see one of these guys have a bad day. And so it will be telling to me, having witnessed 14 practices, if one of them goes out tomorrow and has a bad day and you haven't had a bad day out of 14 times, I think that's going to be interesting. So I don't expect a huge drop-off. In fact, what I think is going to happen is the people who have their minds made up, they're only going to be convinced more, and one of them is going to be wrong.
Thanks.
Love it. All right, let's get to some awards and some predictions on the other side of this break. Shout out to the homies over at Empire Today.
No, that can't be right.
What do you mean, no?
No, I was taking. You were going Empire Today. I was going Lucy.
That's wait.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, I'm doing Empire too, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna do.
Oh, okay. You were looking at. Was he not looking at me like it was me?
I don't know what y'all got going on right now. Go ahead.
I know it ain't me.
Right.
Shout out Empire Today. The best in the business when it comes to getting a new floor in your home or business. We've all been to those, big box stores. They got plumbing, heating, all this kind of stuff going on. They throw flooring in there too, right? But if you go there and you ask the guy, help me find this floor, is that really the best person to ask? They could have been doing, plumbing or whatever yesterday.
Sure.
Our friends over at Empire Today, though, are the experts, the best in the class at getting you a new floor. You can have them come and do an in-home estimate, try to see a bunch of different options, see what exactly fits for you and your business. Schedule that free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DNVR listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code DNVR. Again, that's a $350 discount with code DNVR. Some restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/DNVR for full details.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Lucy. 100% pure nicotine and always tobacco free. It's baseball season. It's golf season.
Spring game season.
It's spring game season. It's sort of football season for one day tomorrow, which means it's time for Lucy. It's Lucy season. If you're into the nicotine pouches, I highly recommend you try our friends over at Lucy. Much better flavors than the more mainstream brands, I guess I would say.
The lesser brands.
Yes, exactly. So hit our friends up over at Lucy. And also check out the Breakers. My favorite flavor is the mint. Jake's favorite flavor is
mango.
I go with the 4s. Go 4s or 8s.
I'm not picky, but I prefer 8s, I guess.
All right. Big guy over here. Anyways, hit up our friends over at Lucy. Go to lucy.co/DNVR. Use that promo code DNVR for 20% off your first order from Lucy. Oh, also, Lucy products are only for adults of a legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine, and nicotine is an addictive chemical.
All right. Let's make some predictions.
Jake,
what's up?
Before we go to predictions, let me say something to you, brother.
What?
How you looked right in that camera and said that you're not picky, I don't know how you sleep at night. You're the most picky person I know.
No way.
Come on.
You've been on the bus with RC. RC's the pickiest person.
Facts.
No, okay, granted, but for Jake to sit there and say he's not picky, you got accused of drinking a soft drink earlier and you snapped.
Facts.
because
Facts, Unc.
because this is kind of like the Kaidon Salter Julian Lewis debate. You know, the Diet Coke versus Coke. There's people who are firmly entrenched on both sides.
Yeah.
And I'm on one side of the battle. So
Fair
Scott
enough.
tried to misrepresent me, so I had to let him know what's up.
My bad.
Imagine how good that feels. Go
I would
ahead.
define it. Tricky.
Yeah.
So would I.
Certain things, just certain things.
Imagine how good it would feel as a brand like Coca-Cola to have like half the world on one side and half the world on the other side, but you win every
Both
time.
yours, yeah.
So I guess it's
Monopoly
kind of like the
right
Kaidon
there.
Salter Julian Lewis debate.
Yeah, we all win in the
We
end.
all win. Same team.
All right, I've got 5 awards here. The first one is the Offerdahl Harge Player of the Game Award.
Did you name these all by yourself?
Scotty helped me a bit,
All right.
but
You guys did a great job.
thank you. This
Much
one
better
was
than
my
you are at pool.
All right, no, we're gonna get into that. Trust me. I'll tell you about the pool game. Unc, you want to go first? Your prediction for Player of the Game tomorrow.
Okay, I know who the award is named after, but he also will not be the winner tomorrow. Talked to Charlie at lunch, and he's still, overcoming some fog. So he's in good spirits, and he's bouncing around and looking good. But I don't think you're going to see Charlie Offerdahl winning the award tomorrow. Man, give me Cam. Give me Cam. Give me Cam, because I think that whether he makes a play at running back that the people not expecting, or he makes a play at wide receiver that people know he can make, it's still going to be, an exciting time for him to see him bounce back like that. And if I could do an asterisk like Jake always does when he covers his bets, give me Omarion Miller as my safety net, but I'm going to go with Cam though.
I like that.
I was gonna go Cam too.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was. I was. And I'll just give different reasoning to explain why I was going to go this way. Isaiah Harge was in this role last year.
Yep.
He got, not only did he win the award, he got the award named after him.
Yeah. Crazy.
And so that role, I think, where you're going to see Cam get a couple carries, you're going to see Cam get a couple catches, you might see Cam get a return. Although I don't think they're going live on returns, but I think that he's going to be a name that comes out of this. People who are maybe more casual fans will be like, dang, that guy is sick, So I'll take Cam as well.
I feel like a lot of the fan base is going to be interested to see how Cam looks tomorrow, and kind of the first live action that we've seen. Obviously, he wasn't available at all his freshman year, and now he appears to be healthy and obviously super versatile and explosive. So I'm excited to see Cam. In terms of my Offerdahl Harge Player of the Game, I think it's going to be somebody who's been head tapping folks all spring. I'm gonna go with Joseph Williams. I think he's going to make 1 or 2 ridiculous catches that catch the attention of social media, or maybe the more casual Buffs fan who may not be familiar with him, who obviously just arrived here in the winter. It seems like both Juju and Kaidon love throwing the football to him in just jump ball situations because they know he can go up and come down with it in contested situations. So I like Joseph Williams. I feel like you can really go with a few different receivers, but Joseph Williams is a guy that I can see kind of having 1 or 2 highlight type plays.
I'm gonna pick Omarion, I think.
Okay.
Omarion's return to, remind people what he's capable of. And he doesn't need to do much. I mean, honestly, you get 2 or 3 big plays out of
100%.
Omarion Miller, and you're like, all right, shut him down. Like, that's all we need to see until July, basically. It's time for him to, put his stamp on this receiver room and prove that he can be wide receiver 1. So I'm going to predict that we'll get a preview of that tomorrow.
All right.
Next one. The Jordan Seaton What's in the Bag Freshman of the Game Award.
Can I go first?
Sure.
Julian Lewis. I'm going to take Julian Lewis, and I almost took Julian Lewis for the last one, but I knew that this was here, so this was I could get both guys in. I've said it a million times, just such a natural thrower of the football. And I think that as long as people didn't get completely skewed by seeing Shedeur Sanders, which was a real treat, people are going to go out there and see him throw the football and say, wow, that dude's a freshman. That dude's actually supposed to be getting ready for prom right now, not getting ready for the spring game. I think he's going to really, really impress people and make some great plays.
Who you got, Unc?
I like the Juju pick and the rationale behind it. Mine is going to be actually based on Juju's success, and I'm going to go Q for 6. I think this freshman out of Metro Dallas is going to try to show that size don't matter and that he's coming in that Jimmy Horn, LaJohntay Wester mindset, and it's going to be more than a safety blanket for one of these QBs because what he can do with the yards after the catch is really what's going to take the credit away from the QB, RK. I'm with you. I'm with you on the Juju all the way, but I think the 10-yard pass from Juju to Quentin and he runs 50 damn yards with it, you forget who threw it to him and what the pass looked like. So I want to go with the freshman receiver for freshman of the game.
I like that a lot. Who you got, Jake?
X.
I knew it. I knew
Give
it.
me my guy, Quanell. It's time for him, too, on a national stage. Exactly what the hype was all about, when the last year in his recruitment, it's going to come to fruition. Someone's going to have to catch balls from Julian this tomorrow. And I think Quanell's going to do a lot of it, put a lot of work in, and show that he's worthy of breaking into the top 5 or 6 in this rotation for the season.
All great picks, fellas, but we've been all offense so far. So
I already know who you're going with.
So let's
bro.
get some. No, you don't. So
Yes,
let's
I
get. So let's get some defensive flavor up in here.
It can only be one of 2 people.
Yep.
And that's why I know y'all don't know who I'm going with. I'm going with Alexander McPherson.
Yeah, that's exactly what we thought, bro. What are you talking about?
I'll go with Alexander McPherson, man. Again, when I asked Arden Walker a couple weeks ago about them 2 freshmen, him and London Merritt, that boy said, wait till you see these boys. These boys are ready. So everything I've been hearing about Alexander McPherson has been super positive. He's been transitioning seamlessly from IMG as an early enrollee at Colorado. His ability to get to the quarterback from the interior, from the edge. I think Alexander McPherson is going to make, again, 1 or 2 splash plays where like, that boy, a freshman getting around that edge and getting to the quarterback that quickly, making plays in the run game, obviously getting to the quarterback in the pass game as well. I like Alexander McPherson to put his first stamp on Boulder.
Love it. Next one. The Montana Lemonious Craig play of the game in honor of his 99-yard reception 2 years ago. I'll go first.
All right, yeah.
Unk said Cam. I'm going to pick Brandon Hood, though, for the play of the game.
Nah, you stole that. It's a good pick.
Yeah. I think that you're going to
pick.
see at least one run where it's like, oh, my God. Whether it's him just making a crazy jump cut or just bursting through the line for 80-plus yards or whatever it is. I think we're going to get a big one out of Brandon Hood.
Who you got, Unk?
Ooh, play of the game. Give me a pick 6 by number 8.
Ooh.
I like it.
It's a good one.
I'm going to give my play of the game to Buck Buchanan. 60-plus yard field goal.
That's going to happen.
In the cold.
In the wind. That'll be fire.
Channeling his inner Vinatieri.
Yeah.
No,
I'm going to go. What's up, Unk?
No, go ahead, Scott. I'll say it after you pick yours.
I was just going to say, I'm going to go with somebody who really impressed me the last spring game. Was out there putting the pads on folks, like really hearing pads popping when he was making contact with folks. And that was Jeremiah Brown at linebacker. I think Jeremiah Brown is going to have 1 or 2 massive hits that make the entire Folsom Field crowd go, ooh. So I like Jeremiah Brown to make an impact here tomorrow on the defensive side of the ball at linebacker.
Like it. I was going to say, RK, statistically speaking, out of all our picks, yours has the most mathematic probability because I've seen him do it nonstop.
Let's go.
Nonstop.
And I'm sure they're going to go out there and try it from 40, 50, 60.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Next one. Scotty, you kind of just picked this, but the JB hit of the game.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I did. Didn't I?
Give me Ben Finiseth.
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
Give me a good Ben Finiseth just laying a shoulder into someone in the open field.
I'm going to go quickly again with another linebacker who I've been hearing good things about, Kylan Salter, the brother of Kaidon. I think he is kind of an explosive guy at his frame, 6'2", I think like maybe 220 plus. I think Kylan is gonna make a big hit tomorrow.
I'll take Carter.
Big fella.
By the way, if you just showed someone that had no idea anything about this team a picture of Carter at the podium yesterday and asked them what position he plays,
Yeah,
their saying linebacker, if not like edge.
That's
Yeah.
right. Even running back.
Who you got on?
I'm going with Carter as well. Because, again, just like I've seen Buck do those kicks, I've seen, Carter do some hits because it's live on running backs and it's live on tight ends. So give me Carter as well.
All right, the perfect time and throw of the game. I guess quarterback to wide receiver connection. I'm going to pick Kaidon to Draylen Miller. Just you're going to see a lot of that this year, I think, and you're going to get your first taste of it tomorrow.
That's a good one. I'm gonna go Kaidon to Amari and Miller. I think it's another connection that we're gonna see a ton of this year. And I know Amari, I feel like is going to be extra juiced up, in his first action since obviously the gruesome injury last year against Kansas State. I feel like he's gonna go out there with a chip on his shoulder wanting to prove something. I think Caden's gonna throw him an accurate ball that he can make some magic with.
Give me Juju to Q for 6, 4-6, slot fade.
Ooh.
Who you got on?
No, I love the way he was calling that. I was like, I was about to ask for some other dynamics. Which way would the wind be blowing?
Facts.
What time will it be? Like, if you're gonna go all in on the parlay, let's add some legs to it.
Well, 3rd and 6, he walks up to the line, sets the protection, gets back, gives a little signal to a Q.
I'm gonna ride with my man Jakey Poo on this one. I think that salted or Draylon is going to be such a thing this fall that for the spring game we're going to get it out the way early and then just package it up and you won't see it again in September.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. There's our predictions. Let's take our next break.
It's not on me.
Shout out to the squad over at Fanstake. Today's episode is brought to you by Fanstake. It's a new platform where fans can pledge direct support to athletes to help their favorite teams recruit and retain the top players. The best part is that it's risk-free. Fans can place stakes for a specific athlete to join or stay at their school. And if in case the athlete decides to go elsewhere, the fans get their money back right back into their account. If the player does go to your school, they're eligible to sign an NIL deal with Fanstake and receive their pool of stake money. This is the simplest way to provide direct support for our young core. We're going to want to keep some of these players for another season and make sure that they don't want to go anywhere else. And Colorado is currently the 5th most popular fan base on Fanstake, so let's make sure
5th
we get those numbers up. Fanstake is currently offering new fans a free $25 credit, no credit card required or strings attached. And I'm encouraging all of y'all to join me in staking a claim for somebody maybe we talked about.
All right.
Quanell, ex-Farrakhan Jr. I think
Let's
Quanell
go.
is going to catch a lot of passes tomorrow and make some noise. So click the link in our description, scan the QR code, or just head to fanstake.com and use promo code DNVR to help Quanell, ex-Farrakhan Jr. stay with the Buffs.
Also, shout out to our homies over at Toyota, where right now they are driving into the playoffs. It's also playoff time tomorrow. If you guys weren't aware, if you're too wrapped up in
we're locked in, buddy.
Severely aware.
Acutely
aware.
Overly aware.
How do you feel about it right now? Just off rip. How do you feel about Nuggets
playoffs?
chances versus the Clippers? Yeah.
Nuggets in 4, Avs in 4.
All right. But you can enter now for Toyota's Drive to the Playoffs giveaway. They're giving away a private suite experience for you, your friends, and a fly-away adventure to see a Nuggets playoff game on the road or a chance to drive away in an all-new epic 2025 Toyota 4Runner. Link is in our description. Don't miss out on this opportunity to be part of the Nuggets playoff frenzy. Again, drive to the playoffs with your Front Range Toyota stores, AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota and Boulder, Groove Toyota in Inglewood, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East and Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of CU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR.
Can I make a spring game suggestion?
Sure.
Absolutely.
I don't think it would be the worst idea to announce that one of the 2 big screens will have the Nuggets game on it. I think that's going to hurt attendance. It's going to legitimately hurt attendance for people that want to watch it. I think you could help attendance by saying, hey, we're going to reserve the south end zone. We're going to have the game on up there.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Hey, man.
Go ahead.
on.
We got the screens up. I can tell you this. Amazon package at your front door, eat an apple to its core, I'm gonna fall asleep till I snore. Nuggets are full.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
I feel like if this was like game 4, game 5, late in the series, I'd be like for sure. But like game 1 is like I don't know.
Same. Like,
You know what I'm saying?
What?
Like,
exactly,
Bro,
bro.
game 1,
No,
it's like, I don't know.
You guys aren't real fans though, so you just don't get it.
but
I'm with you, RK. When I saw that the times overlapped, I really got pissed, and I'm not a Nuggets fan.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, we got a playoff game around the corner. We got a conflict.
I get it.
bro, if I'm gonna sacrifice one playoff game, it's game 1 of the first series.
Literally, bro. You know what I'm saying?
You should never have to sacrifice a playoff game.
Well, I have to though.
Right.
Yes, I guess I see what you're saying. If you had to rank all of the games possible in the playoffs for this to overlap with, this would be one.
For sure.
But it's not like this is highly scintillating action on the field where you're like, we don't want to give people any reason to not be looking down here.
Fair enough.
If it were a real game, I would say absolutely. If you're in this stadium, focus on the stadium you're in. I'm just saying you would help the attendance if you gave people a chance to watch the game.
I am 100% more intrigued by the spring game tomorrow than anything else happening.
Obviously, because you're not a real Nuggets fan.
I'm not a real basketball fan.
Yeah. Of basketball teams, you're a Nuggets fan,
Of course, yes.
but you're not a big basketball fan.
No.
Hey,
Scotty's a Lakers fan, so
Don Juan, chill. We know ball over here. Big ball knowers.
Unk, I mean, the spring game it's always a big recruiting weekend for the team. We're expecting quite a few visits. Just what can you tell us about, the type of players they're bringing in, maybe even who we should expect to see down on the field tomorrow?
I tell you what I've seen in the building today, and it's like I told you guys when I first got here, I want to see dudes I'm afraid of. I've seen some big boys in the building today. Gunnar White, the offensive staff, have been giving some tours to some players and their families, same thing on the defensive side. So I think one thing that people are going to notice across the board and look down on that sideline to see who's here on the visit is size.
Speaking of big boys and size, Colorado just added one of them big boys with size. Just this past week, Xavier Hill, Memphis offensive lineman transfer. I'm sure you're familiar with him. What can you just tell us about what you know about him and kind of what the coaching staff really likes about his game?
Love is tenacity, and part of tenacity, you can make another word and say nasty. You want a guy that's going to get nasty out there with it. Big boy, big size, has done it at all levels. It is really going to solidify when he gets his footing in place here that from one end to the other, this is going to be an NFL caliber, starting group out there. And so you're going to look down the road and you're going to have you had a pro day this year that you only had one offensive lineman out there, two actually. You're going to get a year from now, 2 years from now, and the whole world is going to be here watching, offensive linemen go through their pro day. And that's going to put this program just on a whole nother level when you got that kind of talent in the trenches. I personally love the guy. Everybody mentions Memphis, but he's from Mississippi, so I love when we get Mississippi guys here.
Definitely.
He's out of Olive Branch, Mississippi, right up north by Tennessee. I'm excited, man. He's going to really help propel this offensive line, and he's another exhibit to the strength that this run game is going to evolve behind.
Definitely.
Also, I mean, we kind of buried the lead, I guess, but everyone's still mad about Shedeur and Travis getting their jersey retired ahead of the spring game. Unk,
go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what are your thoughts on the outrage mostly? I mean, I'm sure that you're like us and you're, happy for Shedeur and Travis to get this great honor.
I couldn't be happier for them. And I'll tell you this, man, I have no problems with people with varying opinions. But I think the ones here's why I've been categorizing it. The people who tell me that these two have not earned it, they don't deserve it, I don't even go back and forth with them. That's just foolish. You don't know ball. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I ain't got time for it. The ones that I just scratch my head in dismay, and I will go back and forth with you, is the people who say, hey, they've earned it, but it's too soon. I don't know what the hell that means. How can somebody accomplish something and you want to hold back recognition of it? Like you want to wait till they're 20, 30, 50, 60 years from now and have their grandchildren on the field to give them this honor, particularly when you're recognizing them for something that they cannot add to the accomplishment. Whatever they go on and do in the NFL doesn't change what they've done here. What they've done here is final. It is what it is. There's a cap on it now. So now that they've done it, and you look at the history, the lay of the land, and say, man, what they've done for this program, what they've accomplished here individually, if they're not worthy of their names going up there and number never get out again, I don't know who is. And for people to say, hey, but what about the guys in the past? Well, hell, we weren't here in the past. Y'all should have been crying for them when it was 1-11 and saying, hey, it's time to put Deion Figure's name up. You should have been saying that then. And so to have the leadership of Rick George, who recognizes what Colorado football has become, what Boulder, the community, what the state of Colorado has become because of the accomplishments of Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, both on and off the field in 2 years, they are beyond worthy of his honor.
Cooked. I don't have much to add. I will say this along the lines of too early. It's a lot better to be too early than too late.
Facts.
Exactly.
And I agree with Unc. If you're deserving then, you're deserving now. But I recently heard about something that is going to happen to honor someone that's too late. And that bums me out. And so I would much rather have it be this way. Another example of it is like Pat Bowlen going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We were pounding the table for Pat Bowlen to go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame for years and years and years. Doesn't happen until after he's passed.
Mm-hmm.
And, he doesn't get to enjoy that honor. And so much, much better to be, quote unquote, too early than too late.
Like you said, bro, give people their flowers while you still can and while they're still here.
Yep.
That's what we got to do more as a society. And I'm glad that Coach Prime and the Colorado athletic department is doing that with two very deserving individuals.
Absolutely.
Obviously, there have been some portal entries from Colorado here. Obviously, some notable ones. Obviously, Isaiah Gustav, Cash Cleveland here yesterday, Tajay McCoy a couple of days ago. I'm curious just kind of your general thoughts about, I guess, maybe those three guys in particular. If you can maybe add some context to, their departure and kind of how their rooms are going to look at with them exiting.
Yeah, totally. First and foremost, wish them, the absolute best. I have always said about the portal, the freedom of it, including the freedom to make bad decisions, which you don't know are bad at the time. You got to go through the process. I hope it all works out for them. I think that what they are seeking is what everyone is seeking across the board, whether it's you and I or anybody else in the world. We're seeking more and better opportunity. And if you feel you can get there somewhere else, man, we'll help you pack and we'll help you make the best decision. I'm not going to say, anything, negative toward their performance or abilities because particularly Tajay McCoy, look what the noise he was making.
Yeah.
I told him just a few days ago that before the month of September ends, 40 was going to be the highest selling jersey, this year. And so that's the kind of talent that he brought to the table. So I wish him the best wherever he goes. A Cash Cleveland, his personality, is just infectious. But again, whether it's Isaiah, a Cash, or McCoy, or anybody else, if you feel there's better opportunity for you elsewhere, man, by all means, go pursue it. Because here's the truth when we're dealing with this in this NIL space. We're still in a world where 98% ain't going pro. And so if you have the opportunity to do some financial things for your family right now, you ain't going to get Uncle Neely talking you out of it because you may not get something else down the road. Now, having said that, that's for the people who place NIL over NFL. If you're trying to go to the NFL, Colorado is where you want to be and where you want to stay. Because you look at the running back room with Marshall Faulk. You look at the just choosing from the room where you have the name. You look at the old line with Andre Girard and George Hageman and Gunnar White. These are guys who can absolutely get you there. The defensive side of the ball, all the way from the defense coordinator on down, are guys who can get you there. So if the NFL is what you want, you need to stay put. If the NIL is what you're looking for, hey, chase the bag, man, and God bless you.
Period. Well said.
Unc, to kind of build off that, the last 2 years we've had this spring game and guys have, rushed to enter the portal because, our spring game is like 2 days before the portal ends. This time around, the portal is going to close, I think, on Wednesday.
Next Friday.
Next Friday.
Today.
Okay.
Today.
So there's going to be time. I'm sure some guys are going to leave, of course, but, what are you expecting in terms of departures, portal entries, as soon as, I guess, Sunday, when spring football is formally done at Colorado?
Oh, you'll certainly have some more. And they won't catch anybody here within the building, by surprise. And that's why You'll have a head coach sit at a press conference and say, I'm looking for 2 more guys on defense or 2 more guys here or 1 more guy here, because he has a sense of not only what's in the building, but what's going to remain after the spring game. What I would say to the fans out there, and I think now, Jake, we probably won't have to do this as much next year or the year after, because this portal thing is still kind of new to some of us from the emotional response. We have to understand that no matter what institution you're for or with, that the bigger noise is always going to be people going in, because you got to go in before you can come out.
Right.
And so you're always going to hear more news in the first 72, 96 hours about who's going into the portal. What I would say to our fan base, Buff Nation out there, look at what Coach Prime has done when he gets stuff out of the portal, and then balance that each year to what he lost going in. And it is always a net gain, whether that is position by position or the total unit or the total team. Colorado knows how to win in the portal, and so you may lose a guy or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 here, but the 6 or 7 that you bring in based on production where they're coming from compared to the production that you're quote unquote losing, you actually grew through addition through subtraction.
Great point.
Anything else, boys? Shall we get to questions?
I wanted to talk
for you, Jake, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
Because it's been asked a lot of me today when I've seen people, say, "Hey, what time is a good time to arrive?" That's up to you. I will tell you the timeline. The first group is going to go out at 1:55 p.m. So if you want to see players warm up and what they do, you want to be there before 1:55. And then the whole team will be out, say, between 2:19, so 2:20, to 2:35. And then it is at 2:35 that you have the jersey retirement ceremony, with the spring game starting officially at 2:46. So I wouldn't pull up at 2:45 for the spring game, because that's the start time. You might want to get there about 1:45, 1:30 if you want to see the warm-ups, the drills, and all the things that happen like on a normal practice.
I'm going to get there about 1:15, 1:20, so I can have my Nuggets viewing setup lined up for that hour before anything starts really happening.
Pretty important question I got here for you. Are you going to be at the Boss Man D-Lo concert tomorrow night?
Not only am I going to be at the Boss Man D-Lo, I've heard the Boss Man D-Lo that he wants me to drop a few bars on y'all. So I'm like, Boss Man, we'll see. Because normally when I'm on stage with a mic, I'm taking my shirt off, and I don't know if they're ready for that.
The real Burt Kreischer over here.
Hey, that's going to be turn. I need Boss Man D-Lo up on a song together.
Are you going?
Go quadruple, triple platinum. No, I ain't going. I ain't going.
You're going to hang around here for the Avs game.
Exactly.
I heard.
They already made plans. So
Big Avs guy, Scotty Procter.
We do actually have one more thing to get to. Let's plan our stake. Quentin Gibson.
Yes.
A lot of hype around him in terms of his recruitment and coming into Colorado. Unk, I think, picked him for freshman player of the game. I mean, what was it, 36, 35 touchdowns he had last year?
I don't know. All I know was that it was a Texas State record.
It was an absurd number. Unk, just what can you tell us about what you've seen from Quentin Gibson so far? We've got a crash. Jesus, I just read Reef's comment at the same time I was talking. We've got a track record of these freshman wide receivers coming in and making an impact. Just what have you seen from Quentin? Can he be that guy in 2025?
He absolutely can be that guy. He's been that guy. What I've seen from him is passion, ability, hunger. Somewhere in this guy's life, he didn't listen to somebody saying he was small. Like, he plays big. Like, he plays with a giant mentality. I believe he's in his head, he's Will Shepherd, and there's a ball he can't go up and get, and there's not a lick he can't take going across the middle. He just plays with a chip on his shoulder. But having said all that, the biggest thing I see from him when I look at his interactions with Coach Rashad or Coach Jay Field is that he is extremely coachable. And he is hungry for it and thirsty for it, and knows that being in this environment is only going to make him a better player. And those are all the reasons why, I picked him, because, I think this dude is like, hey, no disrespect to Jimmy Horn, DeJounte Weston before me, but hold my beer, watch this.
I love it, man. I'm so excited for him. And I feel like there's like a compounding effect that happens with these guys who get looked over and passed over and told they're too small and all that stuff. And like, I think, you know, him being the Max Preps Player of the Year, while also being a 3-star recruit, just like compounds for him. And he's just like, watch this.
Yep.
And I just love it. And he just has this look in his eyes that I'm just like, oh, this dude is not going to be denied out here.
He's not here to play around. He's here to really dominate, because that's what he did, obviously, down there in Texas. Again, setting a Texas State record for receiving touchdowns in the season. And this is somebody who, to my eye, has played on the big stage. Like, we talk about Colorado football, you're going to be on national television every year. Down in Texas, like that state championship run that he led his team on from the receiver position, that's kind of the big stage, the spotlight that he's going to be on when he's here at Colorado. And he already has experience thriving in that situation. So I'm super excited about Quentin, man.
Hey, Scotty, I love that example right there, because when you talk to Coach Prime about him, or even before his arrival, it was that game in that moment that Coach Prime knew he was suited for Colorado. He was like, that guy did not shy away from the moment. He not only embraced the moment, he took his team through there. The smallest guy on the team took his team across the finish line. That's the kind of guy we need in Colorado when the lights are bright.
Definitely.
It's such a big thing. I mean, it's rare that you see a wide receiver be the lead, like the guy who led the team. And obviously their quarterback had to make those plays too.
Right.
But he was the star of the state championship team. And it's not all that common to see that from his position,
especially in a 5'9", 5'10" frame.
Yes,
you know,
he's different.
Yeah, with 5 4-stars like on the other side of the ball in the trenches at all 3 levels, really too. Get excited about Quentin Gibson. He's gonna be a lot of fun to watch starting tomorrow. Shout out to Fanstake. That was Plant Your Steak. Sign up with the promo code DNVR. Help keep Quentin Gibson with the buffs. All right, let's go to the Toyota chat, get some questions.
Chat ski.
D Mills is first up. He says that I hear that they are going to put a heating element under the new turf.
I think that exists under the current turf.
I think so, yes.
But it'll hopefully be even better under the new turf.
Unc, what can you tell us about that, the change from grass to turf?
First, I think it's spot on, RK. I think that the system is already down there, and it may have gone through some bumps and bruises over the years, and I don't think they just lay a new one down without an upgrade to that as well. I think it's gonna help us, Scotty. I think that we're gonna get faster. Warren Sapp was just excited about it when I told him on Wednesdays with Warren. We're out there on Folsom, and I said, "Man, Coach, like this is one of the last times it's gonna be grass. We got the spring game. We got graduation, you got the boulder, and after that, they're taking it up." And he said, "Oh, what they're doing? Turf down." He was like, "Oh man, the speed, we're gonna kill him." Like he loved it. And then I also think it's an economic decision, with the AD and even Coach Prime, when they know that, okay, if we're building this program to go deep into the playoffs and win the national championship, look what it's doing here in April. What do you think it's going to be doing in January? So let's put some turf down. It also helps the program economically with other events you can do in the off season without tearing up the grass. So I think it's a good move. It's going to defray some maintenance costs, and those dollars you can plow back into doing what we're trying to do, which is win a national championship.
Unc, on a side note, you mentioned Wednesdays with Warren there, and I watched, I believe, the most recent one when you and Coach Sapp were talking about, I think, Tajay entering the portal, and Coach Sapp was, I don't know if I've ever seen him like that. Like, you could tell, like, that impacted him. Like, obviously, he has real love, like a son, for Tajay and all the guys, all his babies in that room. I'm just curious, to me, my takeaway from that was, like, Warren Sapp really cares about these players and this team. I'm just kind of curious your takeaway from that conversation with Sapp talking about one of his babies leaving.
That's exactly what happened. You read into that well, because it was in that same conversation. I mean, it was only me, Coach Sapp, and Taj in the room talking. And, and Sapp and I have been big fans of him and what he brings to this table. And then maybe others like, oh, man, this and that, he needs to grow here, do this. We're like, man, y'all got to be, what are you smoking? This dude is good. And so I think what hit Sapp at that moment was, or at least publicly in that moment, was that this was a player that I believed in, was talking to, was coaching up. And not only did he decide to leave, even in that moment, that conversation just 24 hours ago, he didn't mention it. And so you got to understand, coaching is new for Sapp. He's just been a coach now for a year. But this portal process is his first time really dealing with this, because the last time he didn't know those guys yet.
For sure.
And so now this year, relationships have developed, time on task has developed, and you can tell that one really hit him.
Definitely.
Kills me.
Yeah.
Kills me because I obviously wish all the best for Tajay, but when Warren Sapp cares about you that much and cares about your development and wants to help you that much, how could you leave that?
And that's what he was saying. That's what Coach Sapp was saying. He was like, I'm here for you. I'm completely invested in you and your future and getting you to the next level. So it hurts. Obviously, it hurts when, a guy feels like he's best elsewhere.
Well, it hurts, I think, double, too, especially when it's guys like this who have been in with the program for 2 years. This is, like, supposed to be their big, like, kind of breakout year, right? Like, a lot of people thought Tajay would start, me included, this year, and we're just not even going to get a chance to see that happen now.
Yeah, it's tough.
Should we hit OT
who's next?
real quick?
I think we're good because we started late.
Say less.
Moni says, which players from the old school group will be at the spring game besides Shedeur and Travis? I know Cam's in town.
Yeah, Jimmy Horn is here as well.
Nice.
Don't know how many are staying through the spring game, but I imagine it'd be quite a few faces back.
Hell yeah.
Love that.
On Kevin's Demons got a question for you. He wants to know about the progression of Quency Williams and Gage Goldberg. What can you tell us about
Wiggins.
Quency Wiggins? What did I say?
Williams.
I'm sorry.
Wiggins.
Quency Wiggins.
Let me tell you this, man. And I've said it, Scotty, brace yourself, because I've said it in our private group chat that all of us will have to be dead 50 years before the Congress will allow it to be viewed. The day Quency Wiggins plays like his body looks is a day that the football world will crumble beneath his feet. This dude is a beast just waiting to emerge. Coach Prime believes in him. Coach Hilo believes in him. So much so that this past practice, Coach Prime told Coach Hilo, hey, get his helmet with the system in it. I want you to be able to talk to him so we can kind of slow down the process of what he may be thinking versus doing. So just kind of talking through some things as we coach him up, because we really do believe that this dude is going to be that man. He's going to be an impact player. He is a grown-ass man out here amongst little boys. He's just got to stop overthinking it and just embrace that coaching up and just do it. But when you look at the potential is through the roof with Quency Wiggins, man.
What would it take for him to break through to the other side?
I forget how Coach Sapp phrases it, but it's that repetition of tedious details. Like that you just do it. You got to do it. You got to do it the right way more times than you've done it the wrong way. Yep. And when you come into a program and you get a coach like Hilo and a coach like Sapp, and you've been doing it the wrong way, like we got to catch up on the math. We got to get it to where the right way is easier. It's the first thing you think of than the wrong way. Because sometimes you can be so blessed with these physical attributes that you want to lean on the brute strength of it versus the technique of it. And the technique is going to get you much further than the brutality of it.
Love that.
I'll never forget Coach Prime telling us his story last year during the season about Quency, when obviously him coming into Colorado was a pretty highly, rated guy from LSU. And obviously he wasn't really much in the rotation last year. And Coach Prime just said he had a moment with him one day at practice. And Quency just told him, Coach, I'll never leave you, especially in this era of the transfer portal. Quency told him straight up, Coach, I'll never leave you in what we got going on here. So I know that meant a lot to Coach Prime, and I'm sure that's the reason why he's so invested in his development and helping him kind of break through to the other side, as you guys said.
I don't want nobody in our chat to get arrested or be accused of something and have to register as an offender. But next time you're at a toy store, go down that G.I. Joe doll aisle, open up one of the packages and take the shirt off of it. And that's what Quency Wiggins looks like. He looks like a damn actor, man. Like he looks like Mattel or Hasbro built him.
I was hanging out in the ticket office just uploading stuff like 2 weeks ago, and he walked out, and I was just like, oh, my God.
Crazy.
Yep. Come on, Quency. We need you.
For real.
Yep. Devin with a couple super chats here. He says, with us being able to see more of a run scheme, Brandon Hood will go off.
That'd be a fun one.
That would be a fun one. A lot of people waiting on that. And then the second one from Devin says, Joseph Williams played the game, already dunking on people in practice.
Sir. Yes, sir, ski.
Love it. I hope we get to see all of that and much more.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, boys?
That's all we got.
Great to see you, Unc. We'll see you tomorrow, man.
Yeah, see y'all tomorrow as well, man. Damn, I hate it snowing the way. Well, I couldn't do it, Jake. Jake, you remember you were late for the bus because it was barely snowing and you acted like it was a blizzard?
Yes.
I want to take a moment to publicly apologize to you because that was my thoughts when I'm looking at driving to the studio in Denver. I was like, I'm not driving in this. Are y'all crazy? Like, this is a blizzard.
Thank you. And I'll use that opportunity to shout out Kenny Highways, who safely got us through that blizzard.
Kenny Highways does not give any you-know-whats about what's going on the roads.
Goated.
I'm telling you, somewhere between a rock and a platypus.
Appreciate you, Unc. See you tomorrow.
All right.
All right. See you tomorrow, fam.
See y'all tomorrow. Skull
See you,
Buffs.
Unc. Skull Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.